All right, so let's say, for example, if we know that 5 is less than 9, we just write 5 is less than 9. Or 4 is greater than 1. Just write 4 is greater than 1. Or 8 is less than or equal to 27. That means it can be either less than or equal to, either one would make it true. So 8 is less than or equal to 27. So all of these are true. Or we can also write 7 is greater than or equal to 7. That means either one of those will make that true. So 7 is greater than or equal to 7 is true. Let's bring that up a little bit. Okay, so the easiest way to remember which one is less than and which one is greater than is that it always points to the smallest number. Notice here, it's pointing to the 5. Here, it's pointing to the 1. So some people say it's pointing to the smallest number. I've heard some people say the alligator is eating the bigger number. And I just remember pointing to the smallest number. So if you have the less than or equal to, the only time it's not pointing to the smaller number is when it's the greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. Sometimes it can be the exact same value. But for the most part, it's usually pointing at the smaller number. Okay, any questions on that one? All right. Leave that up for a second. Everyone's still writing. All right, looks like everyone's done writing. So now, the number line is really just that. It's a line with numbers. It's no other way to really describe it. So let's say if you have 0 here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and it keeps on going all the way to infinity. But it also goes the opposite direction to -1, -2, -3, -4, and it keeps on going all the way to negative infinity. Okay. So now we're going to graph our inequalities on a number line. So when graphing on a number line, first, whenever you use less than or greater than, uses parentheses. Okay, so that's just the basic parentheses. When you use less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, you're going to use a bracket because that means you're including that number. Okay, so you're just going to use a bracket. Oh. And whenever you have negative infinity or infinity, it will always use parentheses. You'll never use a bracket with infinity. Because remember, the brackets mean you include that number. So you can't include infinity if it's growing and growing and growing. All right, leave that up there for a few more seconds. Okay, so let's say oh, see a few people still writing. Let me leave it up there for a little bit.
I have a quick question. You're using parentheses for greater than, less than, but you're also using it for infinity?
Yep, for both of those. Okay, so the only time you use a bracket is when you're actually going to include it. So if you had x is greater than or equal to 4, you'd use the bracket. But if it goes all the way to infinity, whenever you go to infinity, you just use parentheses after the infinity. All right. So let's say, for example, if you wanted to graph the inequality, say x is greater than 5. Okay, so we know that as soon as we see x is greater than 5, that greater than means we're going to use parentheses. Okay, so that means if we draw out our number line, okay, so let's say here I'll go to -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'll take it one more and keep on going. 8, and it goes all the way to infinity. Just keeps on going and going. Okay. So since you're going greater than 5, right at 5 is where you're going to put your parentheses. So right at 5, you put a parenthesis. And everything greater than 5 is shaded in. So everything to the right of 5 gets shaded in all the way to infinity. Okay, so this represents x being greater than 5.
So you don't have to cap off the bracket?
Oh, nope, when it's going to infinity, it just,
Shows that it's greater than?
yep, it just keeps on going.
Oh, is that a parentheses where that 5 is?
Yep, it's parentheses by the 5. Yep, so if you had a greater than or equal to, then you would put a bracket right at the 5. Okay, so if we wanted to write this in interval notation, we're going from 5 all the way to infinity. So we're going to have a parentheses for our 5. And remember, our infinity will always have a parentheses. So this would actually be your interval notation. Which is really kind of just pulling the graph down and writing it out. Okay. So any questions on that one? All right, so let's say if we wanted to graph x is less than or equal to 3. Okay. So just like this one, the minute we see that less than or equal to, we already know we're going to use a bracket. So less than or equal to, sign uses a bracket. Okay. So if we draw our number line, okay, so let's say -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This goes all the way to infinity. This goes all the way to negative infinity. Forgot to put that one up there. So now we're looking at 3. So since we're looking for everything less than or equal to 3, we have that less than or equal to, so we put a bracket right at 3. Since we're going everything less than 3 gets shaded in. Okay. So that means that shaded part represents our less than or equal to 3. You can pick any value there, and that would make that true. So that means our interval notation remember, you're going from left to right, so you're going from negative infinity, and you're stopping at 3. Okay, remember, negative infinity will always have a parentheses. But for your 3, you're going to have a bracket. Okay, so that's your interval notation. So most of them may ask for your interval notation. Some questions just have you graph it. Oh.
Wait, why
Trying
is
to-
the negative infinity? Why is that on the left side of the
Oh, yeah, the negative infinity will always be on the left side, and the positive will always be on the right.
sign? Oh.
The only thing is when we go greater than, that means you can go all the way to 1,000,000, 1,000,000,000, anything, and that'll still be true. With this one, when you're going negative, if you go all your negative numbers, it'll always be less than 3. That makes sense? Okay. Any other questions? All right. Do a, kind of hard to gauge between the sun and the shade there.
We need to know the area and circumference formulas too for the test.
Not the formulas, but they may have like the area and have you solve for something like that, but you won't have to memorize them. Yep.
Like you do for distance and time.
Yep, exactly. That's the one you have to remember. Okay, so let's say if we wanted to graph x is greater than or equal to negative 1/2. Okay, so we already know that greater than or equal to means we're going to have a bracket. Okay, so if we drew out a number line, say -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, goes all the way to infinity, and this one goes all the way to negative infinity. So we're looking for negative 1/2. Our negative 1/2 is about right there. Okay, so we're looking for greater than or equal to, so that means right at negative 1/2, we're going to put a bracket. So everything greater than or equal to gets shaded in. Okay, so that means this shaded part is greater than or equal to our negative 1/2. So our interval notation, remember, that goes from negative 1/2 all the way to infinity. Since it's greater than or equal to, we have a bracket for our negative 1/2, and our infinity will always have a parentheses. All right. Okay, so let's do one last example.
Assume that x is positive.
Oh no, it won't always be positive because x could equal 0, and 0 is bigger than negative 1/2.
1/2, right.
Or it could be negative 0.1. Negative 0.1 is bigger than 1/2. So it, bless you. So it kind of depends on where it's shaded in.
Gotcha. I did it wrong.
Okay, so let's say we wanted to graph x is greater than 5 over 3. Now, sometimes when you have an improper fraction, you want to convert it to a mixed number. It's just easier to visualize. Okay, so x is greater than 5 over 3. So we know here already we're going to use a parentheses. Okay. And we also know that 5 over 3, or 5 divided by 3, you can rewrite it as 5 divided by 3. 3 goes into 5 one time. 3 times 1 is 3. 2. So that means your 5 over 3, I'll write it over here, is equal to 1 2/3. Move that out the beam of sunlight coming through here. Okay, so that means x is greater than 1 2/3. Okay, so if we draw out our number line, say 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way to infinity, and -1, -2, all the way to negative infinity. We're looking for our 5 over 3, which is 1 2/3. So you have your 1. This is like 1 1/3. 1 2/3 is about right there. So that's actually your 5 over 3. Okay. So you're looking for everything greater than. So remember, your greater than, you're going to use parentheses. So you're going to put a parentheses there, and everything greater than that gets shaded in. Bring this up a little bit. Trying to find some place not covered in sunlight. Okay, so that means your interval notation remember, that goes from 5 over 3 all the way to infinity. Since you have the greater than, you're going to have a parentheses here and parentheses there. Yes?
Can you explain how, when you're doing division, how you go from having a remainder to writing it out as a fraction of a number?
Oh, no problem. Yep, all I did was rewrite that as an actual division problem using the bracket. And once you divide it, whatever answers up here, that's your whole number. Whatever's there, your denominator won't change. So that's going to be your denominator. And your remainder is going to be your numerator. Okay, so you have your whole number, your numerator, and your denominator. Well, the way I remember it is wet dog's nose. So you got the WDN, that helps me remember it. So,
So the interval notation, do you have to write in 5/3 because of the 1 2/3 and then infinity?
oh yeah, because if they gave you as 5 2/3 in the original problem, then the interval notation is going to be 5 2/3 also.
Okay, so you always want to write it in whatever they give you first, even though you might be
Yeah.
converting it yourself.
Oh yeah, it'll be right, but that just won't be.
Correct.
Yeah, that won't be the way they want the answer. Exactly.
Okay, that's what I was
Yeah.
curious about.
Yeah, because they're pretty particular.
Like how you were writing it earlier
Mhm.
with the other problem, which you said you could do it either or.
Yes.
This way you can now.
Yep, exactly. All right. Any other questions? All right. Okay, so just a reminder, exam 1 is next Wednesday. Okay, so next Monday is just open questions. If you have questions, you can use the whole class period. Just ask away.
So the fake mock test that you put up on
Mhm.
Canvas,
Yeah.
like if we go through it and do those and say, hey, we have some questions from it, that's what you'll go over on Monday?
Oh, yep. Whichever one you have questions on, you can just come right through.
How many questions will the exam?
You probably about 20.
Okay.
So it won't be the entire. I think it's 50 some odd questions on there. Oh yeah, it'll only be about 20. All right. You're welcome.
So something about red scan dropped on there, it's like 83 weeks,
Yeah, red Scantron.
Yeah, they're all white. Oh, the guy that we're gonna hang out is white, except Kyle. How about maps? Do you think maps is cute?
Oh, they just called me to pay for my book for this class. So I walked right, got the book, then walked right into the bookstore and
And gave it back.
Return this book? They're like, yeah, sure, here you go.
What's the question?
That guy, that book is enormous, it's like this
I know,
big.
it really
It was
is.
extremely, it was like.
They look like they're 15 though.
No, they're eight
Yesterday,
and
I was walking my
9.
geology class and I noticed you, it was like a classroom right there, it was around like 6 o'clock. Do you teach
I don't know
around
if
that
I
time,
like-
or is that just like around this hours?
In 14.
Yeah, it was like right down
In the
hall.
back too?
Oh yep. In that class.
Oh, yeah, and-
From
Okay, give me.
I was,
4:30 to 6. Monday and Wednesday.
I was gonna come ask you a question, but I saw someone there, I didn't know if you had a class or not.
Yep, I have a class.
Okay,
All right, but most of the time they're at the computers doing.
so if I have like a question.
Oh yeah, if you have a question, feel free to walk right on in and ask.
Perfect, I appreciate it, thank you.
No problem. You too.
What Canvas assignments are did, and I think that some of them just say like, no, some of them say May 4th, the other ones just don't have a due date.
Actually, for some reason, this semester they're having trouble linking them up. So I'll remove the due date from there, but if you go back to the modules, go right back to the modules.
Okay.
Yep, you'll see them right next to there.
Okay.
So the due date is actually still on Newton, but I just put them right there so you
Okay.
know when.
Okay,
All
thank
right,
you.
no problem.
So, I got into a car accident on the way to class last week, and then all the homework, it wasn't saying there was anything like due until like May 4th or March 4th, I forget what date, but
Yeah,
nothing for this month. Did you move any due dates back?
Yep, each one there, just by default, they automatically set it to be due May 4th.
Okay.
But each one, as we go over it, I reset them, like, okay, everything we went over today
Mhm.
will now have a due date a week from today.
Okay.
So that's why, just out of pure default, they're all set for May 4th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So would I still get a late grade if I, do whatever is due on May 4th? Wait,
Oh, no, if it's, everything that's due, well, I'll move the due dates from the previous because it was kind of messing up.
Okay.
So everything you'll see right next to the module that's have like class
Right.
5 due January 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what day it's set to be due on Newton.
Okay.
So it'll all be set there. So everything we have today will be set to do the 29th.
The 29th,
Yep.
okay, alright, sounds good.
All right.
Alright, thank you.
No problem.
So let's say like you don't have any questions or something, do you still come across for attendance and stuff?
Oh, no, if you don't have questions, you actually, attendance won't count against you or anything else. So if you're all set, then you can stay home and study or rest or
So,
whichever one works for you.
one other question, why do you need a risk control? I'm just curious.
Oh, because the red Scantron, you can use the red or the green, but the final exam, they make you have a red one. So I wouldn't want anyone to go out and buy a green one or a pack of green ones, and then they can use it here, but then when the final comes along, they gotta buy a whole new pack of red ones.
Yeah, because I just bought a pack of green ones, and I just saw that, I'm like, oh, day.
Yeah, that's the only reason. But if you have green ones, you can use the green one for the regular exams.
But not for the final.
Yep, just not for the final.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so I thought a 2-semester key last semester, but I still haven't been able to access my SIM, so could I possibly get an extension or some alternate SIM? Because I don't have the money with me to go to the thing and get a key, another key.
You bought the multiple semester?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I bought multiple semester, but I haven't.
Because I know they have a 1 semester and they have a 2-year. Yeah. So you have the, you don't know which one you bought?
No, but I'm thinking I bought like 2 semesters because I'm at least here for this year, because I did last semester and I had to buy a key for that one.
that one, well, the only thing after today, I won't be able to extend the previous homework, because I already extended it already. So with that one, I would contact you then. Did you already use up to 2 weeks?
I don't
No.
think I don't know if like I still have access to the 2 weeks since I already bought one before.
Okay.
Where would I-
Oh, you might.
Where would I
Click
access
on
that?
purchase, not, click on unlock, get that. Yeah, up, yeah, scroll up, yep, you need courtesy access. Yeah, so that would give you the 2 weeks free, so you can go ahead and start there.
All right, thank you.
All right, no problem. And they might be able to pull up your account and let you know if you bought multiple semesters or not.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, I'm just recording.